Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a haul video for you. I recently discovered this very cool website called World of Books, or WOB for short, and basically the website sells secondhand books at very affordable prices. Typically they're much lower than retail prices, so I would highly recommend it. I actually stumbled upon the website from Jack in the Books channel, who was talking about it. I'm not sponsored or anything from WOB, but I have picked up quite a few books there. Some of them was on buy three get a fourth one free sale for books under £5, and then some of them were just normal secondhand books without any offers on them. Still, they were cheaper than you'd get them at a regular bookstore. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first book I have for you is Lullaby by Leila Slimani. It is a winner of the Prix Goncourt. I hope I haven't butchered that. French is not my strongest suit. I'll read you the blurb really quickly on this one. When Miriam decides to return to work, she and her husband look for a nanny for their two young children. They find the dream candidate, Louise, a quiet, polite and devoted woman who sings to their children, cleans the family chic Paris apartment, stays late without complaint and hosts enviable birthday parties. But as the couple and the nanny become increasingly dependent on each other, jealousy, resentment and suspicion start to breed, and Miriam and Paul's idyllic domesticity is shattered. Yeah, it just sounds really interesting. I think it might be like a little bit of a friendship gone wrong type of book, where there's a bit of too much of closeness between people who are not family but are in a very intimate surroundings and very intimate situations. So that will be an interesting read for sure. And the genre of this is a thriller. So I'm excited to give this one a go. The next book that I have picked up is Notes on Execution. I've heard about this book before online. The concept of it is really interesting. So basically it's a book about a murderer. I'm pretty sure I'll let you know when I read the blurb. But it's written from the perspective of people who are around that person. So it's not actually written from that person's perspective, it's rather from his surroundings, which is a really interesting take on a book like that. So let me just read you the blurb really quickly. Ansel Packer is scheduled to die in 12 hours, but this is not his story. Ansel doesn't want to die. He wants to be celebrated, understood. Yet now he awaits the same fate he forced on those girls years ago. Already this is very intense. This is the story of the women who survive. As the clock ticks down, a mother, a sister, and a detective reckon with the choices that culminate in tragedy, the impact on those in its wake, and the possibility of redemption. I have never read a book that's presenting a story of a serial killer or a killer or someone who's sentenced to death, like in this case, but that's written from the perspective of people surrounding that person. So not necessarily the victims, not the perpetrator, but rather the people around the accused. This is written by Dania Kukawka, and yeah, I'm really interested to read this, and I'll let you know how I get on with it when I do. I'll be probably doing another review video after I finish some of these books. The next book that I have picked up is Kindred by Octavia Butler. In 1976, Dana dreams of being a writer. In 1815, she is assumed a slave. When Dana first meets Rufus on a Maryland plantation, he's drowning. She saves his life and it will happen again and again. Neither of them understands his power to summon her whenever his life is threatened, nor the significance of the ties that bind them. And each time Dana saves him, the more aware she is of her own life might be over before it's even begun. So this sounds really interesting to me because it's obviously touching on the slavery period in the United States, but also it's set much later, so it's kind of a parallel timeline in the book. So as I read you just now, it's 1976, so 70s, and then also early 1800s. So I think it will be quite an interesting juxtaposition of lives in those two epochs. And yeah, I'll let you know how I get on with this one. The next one I have is Vox, Silence Can Be Deafening by Christina Dalha. This is a dystopian book. I recently discovered dystopian books are probably my most favourite, so I'm really excited for this one. John McClellan spends her time in almost complete silence, limited to just 100 words a day. Any more than 1,000 volts of electricity will course through her veins. Now the new government is in power, everything has changed, but only if you're a woman. Almost overnight, bank accounts are frozen, passports are taken away, and 70 million women lose their jobs. Even more terrifyingly, young girls are no longer taught to read or write. For herself, her daughter, and for every woman's silence, John will reclaim her voice. This is only the beginning. And actually it's quite funny, at the end it says 100 word limit reached, so even the blurb is limited to 100 words. This gives me a Handmaid's Tale vibes, the way that there's a new government that restricts powers of women and kind of tries to pigeonhole them into a certain role that they definitely don't want to be in. This one is particularly interesting because obviously we have the limitation on how much women can speak, so I think the way they communicate in this book will be actually quite exciting to find out about. The next one I've got here is The Passage by Justin Cronin. This is a series, I believe it's a trilogy, but I only just picked up the first one just to see if I'll like this one, and then potentially I can buy the other ones. Amy Harper Belafonte is 6 years old, and her mother thinks she's the most important person in the whole world. She is. Anthony Carter doesn't think he could ever be in a worse place than death row. He's wrong. FBI agent Brad Walgas thinks something beyond imagination is coming. It is. Unaware of each other's existence, but bound together in ways none of them could have imagined, they are about to embark on a journey. An epic journey that will take them through a world transformed by a man's darkest dreams to the very heart of what it means to be human and beyond. Because something is coming. A tidal wave of darkness ready to engulf the world, and Amy is the only person who can stop it. So, this is interesting. Sometimes I buy these books because I'll hear a recommendation, I won't actually read the blurb, which is what happened with this one, as the first time that I have read it just now. It's always quite funny how sometimes the blurb doesn't really tell you anything about the book, so it doesn't actually set a scene. This one just introduces you somehow to a few characters, but it doesn't actually tell you what the story of the book will be about. But it's I'm excited to read this. I'm excited to find out what happens in this book. Let me know in the comments, by the way, if you ever read any of these books and what you thought of them, and how many stars you would rate them. I'd be really interested to find that out. So my second to last book is I Want to Die But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki by Baek Se-hee. Now this is a book I wanted to read it for a while, but it was never available at my local bookshop, so I finally found it on Wob and I just snatched it straight away. Yeah, so let me just read you the blurb for this one. Baek Se-hee is a successful young social media director at a publishing house when she begins seeing a psychiatrist about her, what to call it, depression? She feels persistently anxious, endlessly self-doubting, but also highly judgmental of others. She hides her feelings while at work and with friends, adept at performing the ease her lifestyle demands. The effort is exhausting, overwhelming, and keeps her from forming proper relationships. This can't be normal. I think a lot of people resonate with this description just now. But if she's so hopeless, why can't she always summon a desire for her favourite street food, the hot spicy rice cake, tteokbokki? Is this just what life is like? Recording her dialogues with her psychiatrist over a 12-week period, Baek begins to disentangle the feedback loops, knee-jerk reactions and harmful behaviours that keep her locked in a cycle of self-abuse. Part memoir, part self-help book, I Want to Die But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki is a book to keep close and to reach for in times of darkness. Well, I wasn't aware this was actually a little bit biographical. I've heard mixed reviews on this one. Some people were not quite happy that this were mainly dialogues with her psychiatrist, and some people were saying that it kind of goes nowhere. I'd like to give it a chance. I think it could be quite an interesting take on being almost like a fly on a wall in a psychiatrist surgery on office, and you can kind of spy on what they're talking about with the patients. And then last but not least is this huge book, Babel. Now this one was sold without the sleeve, which I also really loved the way it looked, so it's a bit of a shame. I'm actually reading this currently and I'm on page 246, so about halfway through, I'd say. I will read you the blurb for this now. Oxford, 1836. The city of dreaming spires. It is the centre of all knowledge and progress in the world, and at its centre is Babel, the Royal Institute of Translation, the tower from which all the power in the empire flows. Orphaned in Canton and brought to England by a mysterious guardian, Babel seemed like paradise to Robin Swift, until it became a prison. But can a student stand against an empire? An incendiary new novel from award-winning author R.F. Kuang about the power of language, the violence of colonialism, and the sacrifices of resistance. So far, like I said, I read half of this book, and it's not what you'd quite expect. I thought it would be a semi fantasy kind of historical fiction novel, but actually it intertwines in it issues of racism, of sexism, the way British people in the 1800s perceived the rest of the world, especially the colonies, and how they treated people of different skin colours and different accents. And actually it's quite infuriating at times, and you almost want to punch the people that are not the main characters, obviously, the kind of the fringe characters in the book. So yeah, that's Babel. And that's all the books that I got from Wob this year. I think again it's a great website, and if you're in a habit of buying a lot of books and your wallet is suffering, I definitely recommend checking it out because there's some really good finds. I usually can find there several books that are very current, quite new releases. Obviously the price tag is a bit higher than the older ones, but they're still a lower price than you would have it in your local bookshop. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can receive notifications when I post next time. I'll see you soon. Bye!